let's talk about the game. The game is dropping DRILLMATIC on Friday. Got a release date. We got a we got album cover. We got a back cover, and we got 30 songs. And people are, man, it's really interesting, man. I think people really hate the game because an artist like this who's been very consistent in putting out dope music and whose production is on point. He just came off the LA Leakers freestyle. He's spitting. You would think people would be happy with 30 songs. All I keep seeing is people saying that's too much music. I'm not listening to 30 songs, blah, blah, blah. I hear negative connotations with 30 songs. Can we start with that part of it? What do you think about the fact that Game has 30 songs on this album? Because we don't do that to Chris Brown. But this is
Can I tell you exactly where it's coming from? And this is chess move by Game. Well, he's not showing you any of the features. So it just looks like 30 songs from Game, and that's exactly why people are saying it. If he was actually showing the features right now, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Because I guarantee you, if this is a actual 30-song album, listen to what I'm saying. There is 11 to 17 guest appearances on this album in a singing or rapping form.
I heard an interesting perspective. Somebody was like, yo, he should have did 10, 10, and 10 and released them throughout the year and released 10 at a time, rather, like in a series, volume 1, 2, 3. I think that's cool, but you know what? He did that somewhat with the documentary 2 and 2.5. And when he released those 2 weeks apart, we sitting there like, damn, he should have released this together.
Well, hold on. First of all, that's part of the reason why people shouldn't. I'm glad you brought that up. Part of the reason why people shouldn't be looking down on him doing this is because of the documentary 2 and 2.5. Exactly. That's some of his better stuff in there.
Straight up. And I wish it would have came out together, to be perfectly honest with you.
It would be held totally differently had it came out together.
It would.
Same thing. Hold on. Did not we have this conversation about Hitler Wears Hermes, side A and B?
Put those out together.
You might well go and put that crack music together.
I agree. And you know what? You know me, I'm against double disc. I've always said that on this show. I think that it inherently puts one against the other, and it's never going to be a tie. So even if you got a dope first disc and a good second disc, the first disc, or whichever one's better, is going to make it seem like the other one doesn't exist. You know what I mean? So I think it's smart here. He didn't make it a double disc. He just made it 30 songs. This is one album. So you're not going to split these apart. You're not going to say the first part was better than the second part. I think he's playing this right. And I'm interested. Well, one of the things I'm interested in what he said in his initial post when he posted this was it's no skips. It's the real album of the year. Now, do you think Game has a chance with this record to make album of the year? Everybody has a chance. How good of a chance do you think he has?
Are we doing odds?
Yeah.
So if I was to rate his odds of all the album of the year contender guys that are left, I would not put him as high as Black Thought or Nas, but I would put him somewhere with Gibbs and Cole, because actually he has a track record of making better albums over the course of the career than both, even though he's been here longer than both.
Yeah.
In fairness to him. That's part of why that's happened too. But if this is album of the year, it would be a monumental feat, in my opinion, because a couple things are going on. And we're going to get to this. Well, we just heard the fourth song off Cheat Codes.
Yeah.
So the way that it's sounding, he might not even have the best album on Friday.
I don't even know where we're going to start on Friday. You know, like...
We got to start with the better album.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't know which one's going to be the better album. I'm the one that actually picked Black Thought and Danger Mouse
to have album of the year. Cheat Codes?
I've heard 4 of them.
You're the one that told me,
Cheat Code sounds great.
I'm legitimately shook about my album of the year pick with KD3. I'm legit shook. I'm like, what the? I'm like, again? I'm like, oh, damn. Because here's my thing. You know what? No. We're gonna get the thought when we get to the
Yeah, we're
song.
gonna
Let's
get the
get to
thought when
this
we get
game.
the thought. Jay Short with the super chat says NY hates the game when 50 didn't take him out. That was the final nail in the coffin for NY. Their biggest artist lost to a rookie. Cali loves the game. I want to talk about that
Yeah,
too
we love
because
the
it
game.
seems like I guess we'll get into it now. One of the tracks on here, the one that stands out the most for me is the Black Slim Shady. And I saw from an Eminem page, they were saying that it's confirmed Friday because Whack 100 confirmed that the Black Slim Shady is a Eminem diss record. At least that's what Whack 100 says. So one of these Eminem pages on Twitter says, confirmed Friday the game will attack Eminem on the track, the Black Slim Shady. Jason, be careful with the lines you direct to Marshall. Prepare to suffer the consequences of the rap god next. And I don't know what that means, but I do think this interesting, kind of piggybacking off what Jay Short said. The game has burned a whole lot of bridges in this game, no pun intended, and it's still here, and it's still active. And I think the fact that California, being the largest state in the nation, or second largest, either that or Texas, supports him. And he knows that he got California love, so he's like, fuck the rest of the game.
Yeah, I mean, because
and he got talent, you know?
Well, I mean, like real shit. I mean, it's like, think about all the guys that are at his disposal in Cali. Well,
Yeah.
Alchemist, Hit Boy,
Yeah.
Dr. Dre, DJ Quick. Isn't Bink from Cali?
Yep.
What the fuck?
Kanye
That's enough to
always
make albums
gonna
for the
rock
rest
with.
of your life. That's enough to make albums for the rest of your life.
Oh, straight up. And the fans in Cali alone.
Straight up.
Man there with the super chat.
You know I know. I'm Mike, we were down here when the A was at its peak in terms of it was popping, and I moved to Cali, and I was like, oh, this is different. This type of support is different.
Man there with the super chat says he should have made it 2 LPs, 15 tracks each.
No,
30
then
is
y'all
long.
were going to hate.
I disagree.
Y'all were going to hate.
I disagree.
Well, like, you're right. People were going to hate if he did that.
If he did that, people would have acknowledged.
They're going to be like, he should have just cut about 7 or 8 songs and made it one album.
Exactly.
We're going to hate.
He said it's no skips. I can't wait to hear it because I hope he's right. Now, what do you think about this record, the Black Slim Shady? Like, what do you think about that? Go ahead.
I have just a quick thought, and then we can move to that because I'm selfish. It's like, did Hit Boy do all of these beats? Because that affects KD3.
Yeah, it says. Did it say executive produced by Hit Boy or produced by Hit Boy? Somebody look that up for us while we're on the live. I don't want to throw off the show looking it up.
Me neither. I'm just selfish. I just want to know because I'm selfish.
Well, it seems like Hit Boy is very, very, very involved in the album. So,
somebody on the inside said that and everybody knows this. Game and Nas are close, and Nas really doesn't want to conflict with Game shit. So it's like, Game needs to drop because, KD3 is going to be coming, I heard, like, pretty soon after. Like, he's just letting Game flame up for a minute, but, like, it's about that time.
It's about that time. Yeah, so what do you think is going to happen in regards to the Black Slim Shady record? Do you think he's actually going to come at Eminem on some competitive stuff? Or do you think that do you think it's going to be something that Marshall's going to have to respond to?
Yes.
Okay. This is my thoughts on it, right? I think this is the first time, and I'm saying this here on this microphone, I think it's the first time we've seen a legit MC with major support backing him actually get on the mic and be competitive with Eminem in this facet. And before you guys say Cannabis was off in Iraq, no longer had major label support by the time Eminem went full throttle on him. When Cannabis was backed by the majors and actually had a rap career going on and wasn't, enlisted in the armed services, and, peace to him for doing that. That's very admirable. Eminem wanted nothing with Cannabis on the mic when Cannabis was out here torching microphones. So I don't want to hear anybody mention that name. But this would be the first time that we see somebody of this caliber actually step to the mic and be competitive with Eminem. And I'm gonna be honest, man. Like, based on the game's track record, M doesn't want it with him.
He's got a great battle track record.
He does. Listen, 50 Cent has a great battle track record. Now, did he win all of them? No. But he went up against Jada, Styles, Nas, like a whole bunch of people.
He didn't win any of those. He only won
But
the Ja Rule
again,
thing, though.
he was in the ring. We can't
Right,
even
he's
say
like
that
1-4.
about. But I feel you. But we can't even say that about him. To put him
That's
so
fair.
high,
No, that's fair.
to put him so
50's
high
in, the
in
ring.
that
No,
facet,
50's in the ring.
he's
No,
not
you're
even
right.
in the ring in these situations.
No, you're right. He's in the ring. He's in the ring with heavyweights.
Yeah,
He's in the ring with
50
heavyweights.
was
He's
at
in the ring
least
with Nas and Jay and Styles.
we can't even say.
Yeah, no, and they've never been in that type of ring.
Never.
No, you're right. I'm gonna give. No, you want to know what? A lot of people like me feeling like I have issues with 50. Mike, you are totally right. 50, 50 from fucking Southside Jamaica, Queens. He gonna take on any and all challengers.
Yeah, battle anybody. I don't care who you tell.
Yeah.
Dane with the super chat says Nas shouldn't have dropped KD3 into the winter of spring. Shouldn't drop into winter of spring. Let KD2 breathe.
On my birthday, October.
He said let KD2 breathe a little longer, in my opinion.
It's coming up on the 1 year anniversary of KD2. It's fine. It's a new day. It's a new world. Drop it around my birthday, October.
M's track record in this battle thing, and again, and I only say this because he gets held so high when it comes to battling, right? His track record is Everlast, Limp Bizkit, Britney Spears, Mariah Carey. I'll say Mariah Carey because Britney didn't battle him per se. Mariah Carey actually had a response record. Nick Cannon, Benzino. Am I missing anybody?
It's very problematic.
I'm just being honest. So when you put Game,
okay. So look,
yeah,
not even about. Let's say Game. Let's say the diss isn't there, and I think it is going to be there because I told you, like, Game has evolved into more than just like a notoriety, like he, you know, people kind of treat a Game like he's a short-term notoriety. And it's like, no, that's a legitimate heavyweight MC with heavyweight MCing skills, song making, and capabilities.
His catalog says it.
Yeah, his catalog says so. You are what your record says you are.
Yeah.
His record said he's pretty goddamn good.
Born King with the super chat says, I guarantee Royce will say something before M. And if that happens, that's a problem. I think Royce is probably overall, catalog-wise, in my personal opinion, the dopest MC out of Detroit. I think Elzai's the best lyricist out of Detroit. But if we talk about everything involved, I'm going Royce. I hope, as a fan, Royce stays the fuck out of this. Let this man, who's the battle king and all that, let him fight his own battles.
No, I'm going to tell you why Royce can't do that. Because when I'm going through my thing with Lupe on Twitter, one of Lupe's fans started atting Royce. And I'm like, are you being messy, being petty, or both? And he's like, petty. You know what happened, right? And so he can't even step over into that spear because there's a whole spear out there that's like, no, you're going to step over here and do this first.
You're right.
So he can't even really do that like that.
Yeah, he can't
somebody
do that.
Somebody's at me. And I told them, I was like, I literally ran down my bullet point list and I was like, last point, why is Royce in here? Are you petty, messy, or both? And he's like, petty. I was like, oh, this is the worst.
D Nice with the super chat says Eminem lost to MGK. Shoulder shrug. He did. And I know y'all don't want to admit that, but he did. You know what? We got to get to one of our show sponsors real quick.
Yeah, we do got to get to our show
sponsor. Yeah, let's get to our sponsor real quick. We got Relax Relief. Shout out to them over there. CBD, man. It's about relaxing, man, and being able to take that in. You actually get a promo code with A2HH. Get 10% off. Say a little bit about the company, man. I know you was talking to man Lenny about it because he was saying that anxiety is a real thing.
Well, that's what I was actually about to say is that I think, a lot of people speak about like, smoking actual like marijuana, like getting high for like medicinal purposes,
I'm putting the band on the
which like,
screen while you talking. Go ahead.
yeah, no. A lot of people talk about like smoking and getting high like for medicinal purposes, but actually, truthfully, Lenny and I had a real like a heart to heart conversation about anxiety. I had like I got diagnosed once upon a time with actually having generalized social anxiety disorder, and so CBD is something that like helps with actual like mental health disorders and issues. And I know I've come on here many times and spoke about, how mental health is important in the Black community, like therapy is important in the Black community. A lot of people still have their taboos and feelings about marijuana. CBD is a great alternative for medicinal purposes to help deal with some like true to life, like medical and mental health issues. First of all, I'm looking forward to the samples.
Right.
Because Lennox said he was bringing me some samples when
Yeah.
we talked. And obviously looking forward to like having the event and supporting actually the brand. It's actually something that's like real for me and my family. I'm not going to tell, other family members business. There are going to be plenty of family members in my family. They're going to be getting this product in their hands. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's generational too. And, that's really all. I support the brand, support Relax and Relief, support Linux
Yeah.
and all the things that
Shout
we
out
do.
to
We got
us.
some great things coming.
Yeah,
We do.
shout out to our sponsors. And again, you put in A2HH as the promo code, get 10% off. Check them out over there. And we'll put the website up there at the end of the show too. But yeah, it's going to be www.relax/relief.com. And that's leaf like in, the leaf. Eric
Okay.
Terrell with the super chat says, you realize that calling yourself a black white guy is clown behavior. He's giving him a compliment. Big never said I'm a fat Tupac. I've never seen it.
What's he talking about?
He's talking about the black Slim Shady.
Oh,
Well,
terrible.
actually, Tupac was big. I mean, I'm sorry, Tupac was Tupac's birth name and rap name. Slim Shady's supposed to be a character, right? That's
Yeah.
not even Eminem. That's his alter
I was gonna
ego,
say-
right? So anybody could be Slim Shady. It's like 007, right?
Y'all don't know who 007 is?
Yeah, 007 could be anybody.
Like we do, but y'all don't.
Slim Shady is a character, right? At least
I
that's
mean,
how
you wanna
Eminem uses Slim Shady when it comes to having to be held to carpet for whatever Slim Shady said. Oh, I didn't say that. Slim Shady said that. That's my alter ego.
Well, you want to know what's funny, and probably more so for me than you, but Mike, and you know this. This ain't me. I don't be like this off camera. Like, I'm passionate about a few things. My God, my daughter, and hip hop. Like, you messing with me in any of those? Oh, we on 10. Outside of that, not even the same dude. So it's like, I get the whole character thing because it's like, well, I'm Coop when I'm here. I'm not really Armand. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the game's
It's a
about to be
character.
the Black Slim Shady on Friday.
Yeah. The game is the game is the game, and it's to be sold, not to be told. Yeah, it is.
Jay Short said the game says something slick about Dre too a while back. He also threw shots at him in violence. You think he'd actually diss Dre on
That
that
wasn't
record
actually a
too?
diss, because when we unpacked that, Mike, I believe that we kind of there was some smoke with that fire. So
This is
'cause
my
when
thing.
you think about it, when you think about it, what has Dr. Dre done for the game outside of the documentary? He's been around for a long time now.
I'm just gonna say this: if the game is dissing Eminem, he's dissing Dre, and that's just what it is.
It's just
There's
like
nobody who's worked with Dre from beginning to end in the way that Eminem has.
so once again, if I'm not mistaken, Game is about our age. Like we're all the same age. Lupe, me, you, Game. Like he's about the same age. He's a grown ass man. So
Yeah.
it's like this whole Dr. Dre thing. No, He 40, fam. It's different when you're 40.
Yeah,
like, it's different when you're 40. It's like, no, we all grown men up in here. It's like, oh, you rolling with him? I don't care. I'm still about to fuck this nigga up. You know that, right? Like, you know I'm about to fuck him up, right? Like, we just talk to each other different when we get grown because we don't have time to play. It's like, no, I don't like him. So if you're going there, I'll be over here. We still cool. Good night. Ain't it how it rolls?
If you go to the Interscope website, there's 4 artists on there: Dr. Dre, Anderson .Paak, Kendrick Lamar, Eminem. Those are the 4 artists on Aftermath. Excuse me. If you go to the Interscope site and go to Aftermath, there's 4 artists. Aftermath has 4 artists: Dre, M, Kendrick, Anderson .Paak. Clayton is asleep with the super chat. Says, peace and blessings, y'all. Dropping in to send my love. My one and only podcast. You two are good people, and I appreciate your perspective adding to my own. Well, we appreciate you, Clayton is asleep. He always comes through with the super chat.
Thank you, Clayton. No. Thank you, Clayton. Clayton also has like he contributes like viable comments and like thoughts and always brings like some positivity and love. So thank you.
But yeah, the game has gone off. I don't want to say going off the rails, but he doesn't care who he goes at. I mean, he's even been out of pocket when it comes to Jay-Z. I mean, I think that's why he won't get the Jay-Z feature that he wants. But the fact
that
the fact that he's still here and he has burned all those bridges, like he's burned more bridges in the industry than they say that Joe Budden has burned publicly, right? And he's still here.
Well, he's a better songmaker than Joe Budden. So
I mean, it's attributed to his talent, and I got to give Game props on that. And I'm looking forward to hearing the album.
You don't get. Think about this, like literally, while M and 50 are going diamond, this guy gets pushed all the way to the bottom and to the back, and he's still here. Like that alone would have like no. I've always told people, no, he's dope. He's really nice. And what was dope about him was that his projects have always been great, and he has gotten progressively better as an MC. It's like the guy that's on the documentary too, rapping on Dollar and a Dream. That is not the guy going back and forth with 50 on How We Do.
No, you're
because
right.
if you put that guy in a back and forth with 50 right now, I'm gonna tell you who catching the body. It ain't gonna be Game.
No, that's real. He's well in practice. I saw clout chasing in the chat, and it brought up one of the notions that I thought about when it comes to this Black Slim Shady
clout chasing what?
Somebody said the game's a clout chaser. And so it's funny.
I think he's too big for that.
Yeah. It's funny, man, especially when it comes to Eminem, right? And I'm going to say this and we can get off of, the M part of it because whatever. But you hear that notion, nobody wants it with Eminem. Why do you think nobody went at Eminem? Nobody went at Eminem, blah, blah, blah. But when somebody goes at Eminem, you clout chasing. Which is it? You know what I'm saying? Like, which is it? Is it the fact that people don't want it with him, or when you come at him, it's clout chasing? The man's invincible. They got a hip-hop force field around this nigga. It's crazy. The force field that's around Eminem with the fans and the fandom and how unrealistic Eminem's fans are is insane.
Here's what I would submit to you. M kind of needs to respond, not about Game's rep, but about his. Not about Game's battle history, but about M's real lack thereof. As in, if getting engaged with Game doesn't kind of like ignite your greatness, because here's the thing about being great. It's like they all have a mystery switch. And it just like you got to flick the switch. It's like when you're like inherently great. That's why when you ask me, it's like, well, can Jay-Z have verse of the year? I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, yes, he can.
Yeah, he's Jay-Z.
Like, we don't have any recent evidence. I was like, but yes, he can because he has a switch.
He does.
Like, you know how all those great playoff teams that have won championships have a switch, Mike? And it's like, oh, it's playoff time. Hold on, I'm about to bust this nigga ass right quick. Hold the fuck on. No.
No,
it's
you're
different
right.
Now. Hold on. Are the refs looking? Hit this nigga right quick. Oh, what? It's different.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, if he's different, like this is one of those moments where it's supposed to show. Like Nas, when he got a guy with Hit Boy, it's like, oh, that's different. But he's Nas, so like when it starts happening, you're like, oh shit, oh shit, yep, There
And you
you
know
go.
what? In the moment that he really could have shown that, and it doesn't, and to me, game is out of the question now. The fact that people could debate whether MGK won against Eminem or not, but the fact that it's fucking debatable is the problem. MGK is not in anybody's top 50. You know what I'm saying? And the
No,
fact
that's
that
fair.
that should have been the moment when Kill Shot should have been a historic diss record if Eminem had that in him.
See, I don't think. See, that's what I'm saying is that I don't think. See, this is the thing about that level. Like, Golden State didn't take Memphis seriously when they knocked them out in the play-in, and they really didn't take them serious like that first game. But then they got. You get what I'm saying? Is it's like no, there's like a level, and so maybe MJK doesn't like register on M's level, so I'm gonna let that slide. But game registers. That's what I'm saying. Is it's like, no, if it's there, we're about to see.
Register or not, that
No, it needs to register. No,
the
M is the
record was
caliber
good.
MC that I'm going to say that maybe MGK did, like, maybe he didn't register. You get what I'm saying? It's like remember when Jay is on the blueprint on the takeover, and at the end he's like, and for all y'all other cats throwing shots at Jigga, y'all only get half a bar. Fuck y'all niggas. He was kind of letting you know. No, that's one of the best rap lines ever because he was letting cats know where they stood. He's like, Prodigy gonna get some work. Nas gonna get some work. You dudes ain't good enough to get any work.
Kill Shot, no. I mean, I feel you, but it's kind of revisionist history because Kill Shot, he tried. Coop, he tried on Kill Shot. He didn't go through. He didn't go through passively. He tried. He waited. I think it was like 2 weeks because I know that the Eminem fans are gonna kill me on the dates if I get it wrong. I feel like it was like 2 weeks, and then he came with it, and his fans hurrahed it. You know, it's another because I think I saw Brian in the room, man. Brian said something about Rick Ross, I guess, not apologizing, but not wanting it with Eminem after he heard some freestyle. Let me know what freestyle it was again, Brian, that you were talking about in the community section.
So here's
but I went and listened to the freestyle, Coop. That shit was trash. But when you read the comments, people act like it was legendary.
No, so here's what I mean, though. It's like certain people are supposed to do certain things to you that kind of like you remember Quick and the Dead with Gene Hackman and Sharon Stone, young Leonardo DiCaprio?
I didn't see that movie.
Okay, so there's a scene where like Gene Hackman, like he's the antagonist in the movie. The protagonist is a young Russell Crowe. This guy named Court. And Court is like the fastest guy. And so is Gene Hackman. And Gene Hackman has literally been looking for him so they can have a gunfight. And he literally tells him, he's like, before they fight, he tells him, it's like, I haven't been this excited, like in a long time.
That's what it's supposed to be about.
It's because the threat of losing the Court to the Russell Crowe character, to Gene Hackman's character, it was the first time that he felt legitimately threatened, like on his level. And it excited him. It's what competition in the crux of battle was about. Mike, when I woke up and I was talking shit on Twitter, and then I go to other comments and Lupe is sitting there talking about, I think that you think that I'm smarter than you. I went, I was like, because that's how it's supposed to be. And then he went, I want to debate you. And that's when it's like, I got excited. And this is just me being honest about it because that's how it's supposed to go. You're supposed to respect the opponent enough that the thought of battling them on whatever level excites you and enthralls you. And if he doesn't get enthralled about an MC of game's caliber, we might need to be having a different conversation.
Well, he was excited to throw 2 heavy records at Benzino.
No, damn all that. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying, like easy
I'm going to say this again. So how about this? If, like, I don't know, let's say if like 21 Savage or Lil Boosie were to pull up and say the things that Lupe were saying, I wouldn't be excited at all. You feel me? Like if they would have said the same things that he said to me and about me, I wouldn't be as excited. You feel me? Mm-hmm. It was Lupe that got me excited. It's like, oh, I know who I'm dealing with. It was like, oh, you? It's like, oh, okay, motherfucker. Like, well, then, yeah, okay, then. You feel me? Because it's different.
No,
And
that's a
so
fair
if he
point.
don't look at game different and like respond in kind, as in like, this is what I mean. I don't feel like I lost online to Lupe, but just the fact that people said so, it's like, no. Hold on. Let me go get all my shit together. You feel me? You feel me?
No, I feel you.
Because it's him. It's like, oh no. And I told him this morning, it's like, oh, this isn't happening like that with me. I'm from fucking West Boulevard and Beatty's Ford. We're about to do this. Because that's how it goes where I'm from. It's competitive where I'm from.
Jay Short with the super chat says, clout chasing. The game dissing Eminem will be good for M. M ain't had a hip-hop W on the board in a minute. I can't remember when he did. And now Jack Harlow is replacing him on the pop side. You know what? Rosenberg said this. Rosenberg said, he was interviewing Jack Harlow. He said, you've done something that Eminem's never done. You actually got a song that gets played in the club. I was like, damn. You said it, not me. Brian with the super chat says,
that's so problematic. I don't know what to do with that.
He was talking about the What's Poppin' record. That record does get played more.
Rosenberg, hold on. Listen to what you're saying. This sounds like a joke that a black comedian's going to tell in 5 years. So Rosenberg's talking to Jack Harlow about Eminem. Okay, keep going.
And then Jack Harlow corrected him. He was like, well, you know, he got real big pop records though. You know what I'm saying? Like he got some of the biggest records, yada yada. But yeah, he don't have no records that register in hip hop radio or in hip hop clubs per se. Brian with the super chat says, well, answer it for us. If an MC had a problem with M or wanted to test him, why didn't it happen? It's happening now, Brian.
MGK, that's what I mean. It's happening now.
MGK charged his grievances. He said MGK changed genres. His album tanked after the diss. Go ahead, Coop. I love talking to Brian about this Eminem stuff. He's a super stan. Go ahead. Or at least he sounds like one.
Look here. Talking about a rapper with street cred, multi-platinum sales, hit records, classic collaborations, great catalog. That's what I'm saying. It's like, oh, well, if game doesn't excite you, well, then, like, who are you? You feel what I'm saying? Because it's supposed to excite you. Listen, and we're going to talk about this briefly, or maybe we can segue into it. You know, the whole back and forth with Royce and Lupe happened, and the word that Royce said, it came from a place of excitement.
Well,
he knew who he was dealing with. Like, you know, you feel what I'm saying? It's like, no, like, it's competitive. He's even talking about in the article, it's like, oh, well, that kind of slipped because it kind of got to a place. Well, it's because it's super competitive because you know who you're dealing with. So if M's not getting excited, something's wrong.
Well, let's play this way.
Because the high-end competitors get excited for no fucking reason. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, don't give them a reason. Give them a reason.
Well, Brian, this is the thing. It's such a sliding scale. We could say, okay, well, Game hadn't sold enough records to go against Eminem. Okay, well, who do you want? All right. Oh, we could say Nas hasn't sold enough records to go against Eminem. And the person who sold as many records as Eminem, well, they're not skilled enough as Eminem. So who is comparable, right? And to answer your question about why hasn't anybody came at him, I guess by now, and let's be perfectly honest, you know, Coop and I, we came up in the mid to late 90s, early 2000s, very primitive years. During the time when Eminem came out, and regardless if y'all want to acknowledge this or not, no one took him serious enough to actually come at him in any kind of way. There was no point. This is the guy from the Real Slim Shady video that's impersonating Tom Green, wearing a wig on his head with his bum on somebody's lips. There was no point in anybody like Jay, Nas, DMX, or anybody of that caliber to even go at him directly. Now, some say that DMX went at him on Party Up and he was like, your own man say you stupid. You be like, so, I love my baby mama. I never let her go. We've heard those quote-unquote rumors.
Yeah, I thought
And,
that
you
was
know,
interesting.
whatever. But at the end of the day, when we're talking about, I guess, 99 to 2002, because that's pretty much what his prime was, he was more of an MTV artist. He didn't really get any spins in hip hop spots. He really wasn't getting any spins in hip hop radio. It was no point for any of the big dogs to come at him like that. They weren't trying to mess up their MTV rotation. Shit.
First of all, DMX will diss anybody.
Yeah.
God bless. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
man.
First
I
of all,
hate
nobody
that
say
notion where people say that. And if, for people that want to say that, well, somebody's coming at them now. What's the excuse?
It's like nobody.
And as soon as you say something like, oh, the album wasn't good or whatever, whatever, here comes Bizarre. Here comes Royce. Here comes, you know what I mean? Like, who else does that? Even when people were coming at Jay like that, Jay handled his business. I would give Jay that. I would give Jay that. Jay O'Felony and those guys was coming at him. Jay handled his business. Now, obviously, State Prop said what they said. Memphis Bleak would say what he said. But Jay was handling his business. He wasn't just letting all the other guys go handle his work.
Let's just keep it 100. He only sicked the dogs on Nas because that was the only person worthy sicking the dogs on. It's like, no, he's the real problem. Everybody all in. That's the only time he was all in. Other than that, he was handling his BI like personally. You know what I'm saying?
I love the takeover and the fact that he went at multiple MCs. Like, that's a rare opportunity. Yeah, he went at multiple heavyweights on that record.
I told you, it's like Prodigy gonna get this work. Nas gonna get this work. Y'all gonna get this work.
Yeah. I mean, that's respectable, man. Now, granted,
the takeover is one of the. How about this? If we're talking construction, it's the best constructed diss song ever.
It might be.
The construction of the diss.
Because as much as we love No Vaseline,
he's talking like a fan talks. I can't stress that enough. It's the only diss record where you can tell the guy actually likes the rappers that he's talking about. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Where he's literally talking shit to let them know. It's like, it's not personal. Actually like you.
Uh-huh. No, you're right.
It's only diss record like that.
It's
respectable.
It's like,
it's like he's kind of vicious, but it's like, does he like Prodigy? Does he like Nas? It's like, it kind of comes off. It's like he's a fan of their shit. It's like, oh, this is bad. It's like, this is bad for them. This is bad for them. He's talking like a fan. This is bad for them. He's talking like a fan.
I think ultimately, though, the greatness of the takeover in that way is one of the reasons why Nas was able to get the drop on him, too.
Yeah. Well,
I don't think he thought the ether was going to come that strong.
This is what I mean about the... I told you, he lost because of his arrogance, not because of his rhymes.
Yeah.
Because if he would have had it to do again, well, the takeover is going to be about 2 to 3 verses about Nas and only 1 verse about Prodigy. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
And so
his
misstep was in the focus of the song, the construction, the lyrics, the beat. I'm
going to slightly disagree with you there. I think the construction of the song was fine. I think his turnaround on the response of Ether was the biggest problem.
That's what I mean. Yeah. No, I mean the construction of the takeover is brilliant.
Yeah.
It's like still.
Yeah,
I'm not taking that away. Yeah.
I think if the Blueprint 2, the song that is, would have been the response to Ether, it would have been a lot more of a conversation.
Lyrically, yes.
Nas the GOAT with the super chat says, M isn't battle tested. He battled pop stars. These are facts, man. And I know that M stands don't want to actually acknowledge these things. And y'all want to think that B Rabbit from the movie 8 Mile is a real person. And these things really happen true to life, but it's not. B Rabbit is a character in a movie.
Oh, shit.
It is what it is, man. We got to face that reality. Look, 3000 was my favorite rapper growing up. And even me as a fan of Cass and a fan of 3000 still, I have to acknowledge and be honest about where he places on an all-time list when it comes to individuals. Eminem fans refuse to acknowledge the realities that he's not what you think he is, battle-wise. Now, whatever your opinion is on his music, I mean, that's whatever. I guess that's opinion. But one thing that's not an opinion is he don't get played in hip-hop spots like that. He doesn't have, for somebody who sold so many records, he has no hits, in hip hop radio. That's just real. And he came up in a radio era. Just saying. But I'm looking forward to hearing the record, obviously, and I know y'all looking forward to hearing me talk about the record specifically. You know what? On Friday at midnight, I'm going straight to that record. Man.
Before game and before cheat codes.
I'm going to the game's
like
album.
Happens, I still have to listen to the project like from beginning to end. And I guess
I can't hold back the anticipation.
I cannot skip around. I cannot skip around the album on the first listen. I can't.
I'm going to go straight to that song, then I'm going to go back to the beginning.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I have to go through. Here's how I know if an album is like immediately for me something's classic is if I hear the album the first time through, and not only do I not think about skipping it, my is like, hold on, I need to listen to that again to make sure that I don't want to skip anything. That happened with Pray for Paris.
Yeah. No, you're right. And I can see how that could convolute your mind when you just kind of skip around. You want to start at the beginning so you can see how everything flows.
Like hearing like the auction, and then, going to No Vacancy into George Bond. It's like, no, I needed that. I was like, when No Vacancy came on, Mike, it was 12:15 and I was drunk as hell. And I was like, oh, this shit sounds beautiful. I'm like, this is going to be rap album of the year. And then George Bondo came on. I was like, this is about to be the motherfucking rap album of the year.
George Bondo.
Like, it's about to be the rap album of the year. I'm like, oh my God, he's making the rap album of the year. I was like, this shit is hard.
I listen to Pray for Paris all the time, man.
Pray for Paris is beautiful. I told you I don't want no Hell Hath No Fury treatment on Pray for Paris. I'm serious about that.
We put up a debate on According to Hip Hop where we had 4 albums. We asked people to pick the best album, and we had Damn on there, we had Alfredo on there, KOD, and Daytona. Do you know, I was surprised. So many people were picking Daytona and Alfredo. Damn really didn't dominate like I thought it would.
Really?
Yeah,
well, those are my favorites on there, too.
Damn did not dominate like I thought it would.
I told you that Daytona and Alfredo are better than Damn to me. Told you that.
I think
we're going to talk about Kenny. Hold on. We don't talk about Kenny. Kung Fu Kenny spinning back around real quick.
Yeah, he is.
Truth hurts. Why that is.
Truth Hurts with the super chat says rappers didn't battle.
Truth Hurts is right.
Truth Hurts says rappers didn't battle or speak on M because they didn't want to get blackballed by Jimmy Iovine's machine. That's very. He's the moneymaker. Listen, let's talk business real quick. Eminem is making unspeakable amounts of money for that machine at that point in time. No one's ever sold that many records that he was selling when it came to the Marshall Mathers LP and
everybody got a yacht.
Eminem show. Do you really think that?
What Method Man say when DMX walked in the building, everybody got a house? Well, when Eminem walked in the building, everybody got a yacht.
Do you think they're gonna let some motherfucking rapper come in there and ruin all that? No. No. Now I know we like to think idealistic and be fans of the culture and think that there's going to be a KRS-One walk in the building and ruin somebody's career. You're not going to overthrow that. No.
So let's juxtapose this around the same time at Def Jam. Method Man just spoke to this in an interview where he's like, when DMX came in the door, all the niggas got a house.
Yeah.
Hold on. Listen to what I'm saying. That's what? 4 million records sold? 4 or 5 million records sold? M's like doubling that on the Marshall Mathers LP. The Slim Shady LP goes triple platinum out gate. Out gate goes triple.
Those are single albums, right? I mean, not double disc for those out there. Those are the highest 2 selling albums in rap history. So you listen, that was my company.
Well, no,
ain't nobody coming through, huh?
Think about it. When nobody knew him,
yeah,
he went triple platinum. DMX had the streets for years and had to sell. DMX had New York on Smash.
The game
was literally
on
the
Smash.
hottest nigga in the streets. Had known about him from years. Was on all types of guest appearances. And you know what he got for all of that? About 1 million albums more in record sales on his best-selling album. And then the Marshall Mathers LP and the Eminem show come out after that, which is just ungodly amount of numbers.
Exactly.
Jimmy Iovine's second yacht belongs to Eminem.
Yeah.
And so do his third, fourth, and
Ain't
fifth
no
house.
rapper gonna
Same
come
thing
in the
with Drake.
door. Ain't
All
no.
these motherfuckers. That's what I'm saying. Oh, no. Ain't nobody, they're not about to let anybody come fuck that up.
Listen, man. If I own Interscope
People will
or
murder you about that stuff. People
yeah,
understand this is a different type of money we
this
talking
is
about. Niggas
hundreds
is
of
out here
millions
getting
of
killed for
dollars.
$100, $200.
Yeah, if your artists come through the door trying to diss somebody that's making us hundreds of millions of dollars, I'm gonna have a conversation with you, and we're gonna cut this man's air off.
I mean, I want you
We're
to look
gonna
at
cut
it
his
like
water
this.
supply off.
You asked me recently, you were like, yo, Coop, you ever had like somebody steal a song for you or somebody in your kin? And I bought up the whole holla thing with the digital thing from Alliance, the Tatted Up guys.
Mm-hmm.
No, that was serious. That was like taking money out of our bellies. Like let me tell you how real it was. Asaya was still in the belly when Holla recorded digital and was about to go perform it and is like, I'm performing digital tonight. We're about to blow up. This is when he had the rap van and the plug to Universal and all that. And he looked at me literally and was like, you need to be there. And I'm looking at, my girlfriend and my baby mama who's 5 months pregnant. And I'm like, we got to go to the red train tonight. And so she hopped on. You feel what I'm saying? She hopped on the bus, pregnant with Asaya, and came in the red train for Holla to perform digital. Like, that's why I was ready to spaz on them about that. You feel me?
Yeah.
It's like you was invested. That was potential money on the line. My right-hand man was like, no, you need to be there. Because he also knew who I was, too. If you didn't tell me to be somewhere, Ghostface killer on your ass. It's like, no, you need to be there, like right here, nigga.
Boring King with the super chat says, random question. Have y'all discussed who had the better
Killing
verse?
for shit like that.
He said, have y'all discussed who had the better verse on Life's a Beat? Yes, we have. I think that might have been previous 2 episodes or something. AZ. One of the best verses ever. Brian with the super chat says, oh, go ahead. My bad.
It's the closest thing that you're going to have to find to a draw, but off of the stunningness of it. Because here's also the reality of it. If you're playing Illmatic, well, you just got done hearing Nas rap New York State of Mind before Life's a Bitch comes on. Right. So even if you haven't heard Nas before, you're like, I don't know if that verse he kicked on Life's a Bitch is better than that last verse I just heard on the previous song, which is an accurate sentiment possibly as well. And so AZ has what I like to call that flash and that style factor. It's like, who the fuck is that? It's like a comment when he comes in on that verse.
Well, see, that's the thing, too. I was going to say, let's just say hypothetically there is a tie. And I don't really believe in ties when it comes to those things. Whoever goes first is probably, if we're talking about 2 verses, whoever goes first is probably going to get the benefit of the doubt.
How about this? Here's what I will tell you. Nobody has ever saved face the way Nas saved face on the second verse of Life's a Bitch. Because part of why Life's a Bitch is because AZ blazes it on an all-time legendary level. But Nas upholds the standard.
I woke up early on my born day. I'm 20. It's a blessing. A lesson to adolescent keeps my body now refreshing. My physical frame is celebrating because I made it. That's a beautiful start to a verse.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so, like, he comes in, and it's like, how about this? People have to realize this. When AZ is doing this verse, and you're hearing it in April, May, spring, summer of 94, this is a verse lyrically that is past anything that you have heard coming out of the East Coast the previous 3 years. You're going to have to go back to Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em to find a better verse.
Wow.
That's how the verse is. It's better than every verse on Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers. It's better on every verse on Midnight Marauders. Like, go run it down.
Man, you're saying a lot.
The level of lyricism on that verse is better than everything coming out of the East Coast from 91 to 94, as in you have to literally go back to Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em to find something lyrically comparable to that verse on that level. I told you, like, the best example I could probably give you would be the Jizza on Protect Your Neck, and that's not fucking with Life's a Bitch. This is spring of 94. You feel me?
I can't disagree with that. I'm going to have to think about it, though. Brian with the super chat says...
Go find me the verse.
Brian
Go find me the
says,
bars.
you're telling me when M was the biggest artist in the world and getting crowned the king of rap, that never happened, by the way. No one
Never.
wanted to compete with him. If
Hold
he
on.
was if he was an easy target, then the best MC should have went at him. That's not what I'm saying. You're changing what I'm saying. What I'm saying is he never was the king of rap during that era that you're speaking of. None of that talk happened until all that shit was over. I didn't hear no quote unquote Eminem being king of rap till like around 2008ish, when those days were gone. Now if we would have heard that talk back then, you better believe some people would have stepped up to the plate. Just saying.
He's never.
Not because
This is
when did
okay.
Rap God
So
come out?
hold on. So this is what I mean about, and every rapper's supposed to feel like he's the best, but also said this to Lupe. I was like, well, you've never been number one all time to make the rap side comment. Like how you're not competing with rappers. I'm like, you've never been like number one in the people's minds and the people's hearts, and neither is Eminem, and neither is Pusha T. You feel me? It's like, no, that's when I'm speaking about that too, man, that's rarefied air. That's Rakim in 88. That's Ice Cube in 91. That's Nas in 94. That's Big in 97. That's Pac in 96. It's like, no, ain't too many people been in that place, and you shouldn't feel out of place for not being in that place. It's just one of those things that lets you know your place. What you'll find, like on my greatest MC list, like typically, like all the MCs on my greatest MC list pretty much had a year where everybody thought they was the best MC except for maybe Scarface, and that's because he's the most consistent of all the great MCs.
I think we could say this fairly, and we all know how
Even Ghost had a year. Everybody know Ghost the best MC of the year. Supreme Clientele came out, right?
In my opinion, he was. That was 2000. So I would definitely.
Nobody better than Ghost in 2000?
Nobody's better than Ghost in 2000. But see, some of these people would say that Eminem was. And I want you to put Supreme Clientele's rhymes and songs up against the Marshall Mathers LP. You don't want to do that.
This is what I'm talking about.
This is where the separation is. Put Supreme Clientele.
This is where the separation is, and why that lyrical miracle doesn't matter as much.
Put Supreme Clientele, song for song, up against the Marshall Mathers LP, and tell me that you got Eminem coming out on top.
This is what I mean. Supreme Clientele is so brilliant that you have to sit it next to something like Liquid Swords.
Yeah,
lyrically. That's what I'm saying. That's how special Supreme
everything.
That's not you can't just be an all-time great lyricist and be like, well, this is my best album and put it up against Supreme Clientele. It's like, no. I told you, Liquid Swords is the best MC lyrically that you'll find on an album between 1988 and 1996 that doesn't belong to Nas or Rakim.
And Supreme Clientele has Shay Shay Lagos on it too, which got more play than any Eminem record ever has on hip-hop spots, radio, whatever you want to say.
Blacking out on Supreme Clientele. Jizz is part of the reason Supreme Clientele. So Supreme 2, the verse on Wu Banger 101 is epic.
Unknown name with the super chat says, any thoughts on the Irv interview? The Can I Live collabo, etc. I thought it was interesting when he said that.
We all knew that.
He said that Nas was supposed to be on Can I Live. I don't know if I like, it's funny, man. It's kind of like that whole.
He's been saying that he did. When Reasonable Doubt, I forget what year it was, Double XL did a Reasonable Doubt
anniversary
review
thing. Yeah.
But when they did it is when Irv let it out the bag. He's like, yeah, Nas was supposed to come through the studio and that for Can I Live? And that's when everybody was like.
But you know what? It's just like the whole.
There it is. There it is right there. It's like beef right there. Because Jay's a street dude and by now Nas is an industry guy. And when you're in the streets the way Jay's in the streets, you do what you say that you're going to do. And so he took Nas not coming as a slight. That's the first thing I thought when he said that. It's like, because he's talking about how Jay is moving weight and like all that shit. It's like, yeah, that's fine. Let's get into the mentality of a street dude. When you're moving like that, you need everybody to do what the fuck they say that they're going to do. You feel me?
Yeah, and it's like, if you ain't show up.
It's like, oh, he ain't show up. I can't trust that guy. That guy's shaky.
This is true.
The streets work.
But I think, if we keep it all the way real, I'm glad that it worked out the way it worked out.
The best verse is the second verse.
Yeah. So it's kind of like the Prince not being on Michael Jackson's Bad. I mean, I think I'm glad that it happened the way it happened. KD with the super chat says, "Let's go, fam. DRILLMATIC in 2 days. Y'all excited? I am ecstatic. I'm going straight to the Black Slim Shady LP, and then I'm gonna go back to the intro. I'm sorry, I can't help it, Coop. I can't start at the beginning. What track is it? 23? I'm not gonna be able to really listen to these records with a clear head if I don't hear this record first. I'm sorry." Antonio with the super chat says, "I agree with Coop. I can't listen to an album out of order. I have to be able to press play and walk away, and if I have to skip, I don't revisit often." Andre Shashir says, "Thoughts on Rap Roundtable saying that Jay is the GOAT." We're going to get to that. We are about to get... You want to make that the segue? Are we done with this topic?
Hold on. But I mean, I'm not saying AZ didn't have the better verse, but it's like, you understand. How about this? One could have got Rhyme of the Month. One could have got Rhyme of the Year. Time is illmatic. Keep static like wool fabric. Pack a 4-matic to crack your whole cabbage. People's vernacular wasn't even like that when he said that. You understand that he's using words that other rappers aren't even using.
It's true.
Like both of them. Like that's what I mean. In 94, like the wordplay alone, the verbiage, the vernacular that is being expressed on this song. Like you understand, nobody on the East Coast are using these words that these two guys are using on these songs. Do you understand that? That includes Wu-Tang Clan, who just released Enter the 36 Chambers about 6 months before, including them.
No, you're right.
They're not rapping
Because
like
even when
this.
you listen to Wu-Tang Forever, even though I feel like the songs on 36 are better,
they are.
The rapping on Wu-Tang Forever is just such next level from where they were on the previous one. And that's not a slight to the debut album. It's just how incredible they were as lyricists.
Hold on. This is why the lyrical miracle doesn't matter as much. You know what Raekwon verse I really remember on Into the Wu-Tang? It's chess boxing. It's his energy. Rough like Timberland wear. Yeah. Me and the clan and the Land Cruisers out there. Peace to all the crooks. All the niggas with bad looks. Like it wasn't what he was expressing. It was also how he was expressing it. Lyrically, where he went on the Purple Tape, he's 20 times the MC on Incarcerated Scarface's Mike.
No,
20 times.
For real.
20 times. Flow, delivery, voice, inflection. Bananas. But the feel of chess boxing. My people's where you with me, where you at? In the front, in the back. Killer bees on attack. You hear Dirty in the background. Oh.
Classic. I'm over here trying to silence my Mac, man. My Mac keeps... Because not blocked, but I turned my phone off. But now my messages keep going to my Mac. And you know how Mac has everything lined up with Apple and all that. So I'm trying to silence my Mac's messages. But I'm just going to have to do that before the show. My bad. Mike 100 with the super chat says, "Yo, should the GOAT debate be judged by prime impact, highest of the highest, or quality of material?" I go from end to end, man. It's a little bit of both. You're right. But you know what? I'm going to be real. I think that the longevity game for me stands a little bit more. Because once again, talk about Tom Brady. What Tom Brady's doing right now, it's irrefutable at this point.
Nas and Tom Brady.
What Nas is doing right now?
Nobody's done this. So hold on.
Yeah, what Nas is doing right now is irrefutable.
We have to. I told you when we had the KD1 conversation, it's like, I told you, I said, well, this changes everything.
It does.
I told you when he dropped KD1, I said, nobody's made an album this dope, this late. This changes things. That's like when Tom Brady won that MVP in that Super Bowl at 38, 39. It's like, hold on. No. You can be good. You can't be MVP and Super Bowl champ at that age. Yeah. It's like, well, yes, you can. It's like, well, damn. And this is what I'm saying is like KD1 for me was like, hold on. That's like, how about this? That's like a player that their first 7, 8, 9 seasons always made first team NBA. And then for about 2 or 3 years, they don't make the NBA team at all. And then for another 2, 3 years, they make the second team and the third team. And then they pop the fuck back up after 3 years and make the first team. That never happens. Mm-mm. After you usually have your first team run, you can go in basketball history. LeBron and Durant are the only people to traditionally just always make the first and the second team. Like, just if you just want to talk like history wise, like Magic and Mike are kind of like that too. It's just like Katie and LeBron
Right.
have at this point like played a little longer. It's like, yeah, that's not normal. That doesn't happen. Like, you don't go from being the first team like for 8, 7, 8, 9 years, and then to a second, third team guy, and then pop back up on the first team. It's like, hold on, it's like I think he just popped back up on the first team, and
Nas
then
is
and
lapping
then
the
the year
career
after
of
that, he won the
greats.
MVP award. You
Yeah.
don't, you don't, you don't do that this late in your career. You don't turn back up on the first team and then go win the MVP award after you make first team.
Nas is lapping some of the greats. And it's crazy. People that started after him that we consider all time greats. He's lapping them. It's
Yes,
insane. Jay Short in the
yes,
super chat says,
yes.
"It looks like the industry is done with him. If you two were his manager, what would you advise him to do musically? You should. Who should he call or retire? I think he did exactly what I would have done. He just put out another greatest hits.
Can I be honest with you? He's literally large enough to just go tour his songs from now till eternity, just off like perception rep in these songs and how they've been built out for pop culture and stadium flow. And so my question to you is it how much of this is money driven by the industry and ego driven by him? Like, let's how would you percentage wise lay that? Because I would say 65 to 70% industry and 25 to 30% his ego, because he could hang it up right now and just go tour and do like, hip hop Rolling Stones type tour numbers, which is where you make most of your money now anyway.
Well, all jokes aside, I think that I guess what I would do, I think there's been a lot of missteps along the way, right? I think a lot of the stuff that would fix his current issue is retroactive. I think that in his prime, the stuff that we remember the most, or the stuff that was at the height of his career, didn't have a lot of weight and didn't have a lot of meat to it, and it was just some music for the time. That's why it didn't age well. And I think that during that time period, I would have had him working with more of the people that kind of got him the buzz originally, getting on the stuff like the Sway and Tex of that era, getting, what I'm saying, on, even though Raucus was kind of, fizzling out, but working with some of those people, jumping in there with Doom, people like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, do a little bit of balancing acts like that. I think
So
once you get to a point, and I think Beyonce's dealing with this right now too, where you're too big to work with anybody, once you get to a point where you're not the one anymore, there's nowhere to go. I think Mary J. Blige has done a great balancing act throughout her career. No matter how big she gets, she works with everybody. And you never feel like Mary J. Blige is too big to do anything.
no, you
And
don't.
that's a great thing. That gives you
No,
room
like,
to do
how about
whatever you
this?
need to do when you're not the hottest anymore.
Hold on. I'm going to tell you what. So, a lot of people were talking about how it's like, remember when she was like courtside at the Brooklyn Nets game getting lit in there, like Mary getting lit at the Brooklyn Nets game? I'm like, no, I'm like, Mary can do what she wants, like, because Mary keeps it like real funky with us. That's why Mary can pull up courtside and like get lit, and it's like it's not nothing because Mary ain't really like lied to us about much. Like,
Yeah.
she done been real funky with us, like real funky and honest with us, and always contributing in the hip hop and R&B sphere. So if she want to go sit courtside with her sister and get toe down from the flow down, we gonna be with it because it's kind of indicative of the honesty and it has always made us gravitate towards her. Part of her aura is that there ain't no lying in her.
You remember when she did that Burger King commercial with the chicken sandwich or whatever, and it got a lot of drawback because people were labeling it some buffoonery. What she did after that, she went straight to Angie, talked about it, laughed about it, explained it, and now it's gone.
She's
See,
not
it's a
perfect.
lot. It's a lot when you're actually not too big to go talk to people. And I think a lot of artists are seeing this
No,
now, where where we see
she is
now
that
when
big.
people get
She's
big.
just real.
That's what I'm saying. you should never feel like you're too big. We got artists at this point, and I ain't trying to
No.
single anybody out, but we know the big artists who don't do interviews, who don't talk to anybody, who put out all this thought-provoking stuff that's just left for interpretation, and don't sit down with anybody to talk anything about it. Even this week, we seen Kendrick out there in Harlem. That's why this is circulating so much, because we're finally seeing Kendrick in a regular setting, you know what I'm saying, chilling with some real dudes in Harlem. People like to see